everyone. Welcome to B3u. I am glad to be here with Mr. Vernard Hines, the laugh therapist. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on and doing this interview with me. So just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Vernard Hines, aka the Laugh Therapist. But as a therapist, y'all, I'm not licensed. I'm just medicated. All right. I'm not licensed. I'm just medicated. I am a comedian. I'm a speaker. I'm a father. I'm a husband. And I'm a 20-year, 7-month, 4-day military Army retired veteran.
Amen. Thank you for your service.
Thank you
for your service. I know what it's like. I know what it's like.
Yes. Yes.
So how did we get the, how did you become the laugh therapist?
Well, all my life I've been funny. People have told me that. I've been the class clown. At 12 and 14, I could memorize Richard Pryor albums. I knew I was an unsupervised child, so I knew all Richard Pryor albums. I love comedy. I love in the military. I was the barbecue comedian. You bring me to the cookout, we're gonna have a good time. But then I learned that all that was hiding my trauma. That was my way of fitting in by making folks laugh when I didn't know how any other way to fit in. Then folks asked me if I wanted to do comedy, and I was like, no, never thought I could go on stage. Nah, I'm not gonna do a comedy. No, Then came back from Iraq, going through trauma from the war, going through a trauma of moving back home and facing childhood traumas and those type things. And when I left Oklahoma, someone told me, she said, when you get to Virginia, you need to pick up comedy. I'm like, man, okay. So I came back home, came back to Chesapeake, Virginia. Well, Norfolk, but I came back to Chesapeake and went to a church, and the pastor said, well, what we're not going to do this year, we're not going to bring in a comedian. We're going to find somebody in the church. But before them, I had asked God, if you want me to do comedy, show me a sign. That was a sign.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? So I went and I auditioned, because they wanted you to do an audition, make sure you know what you were saying. I didn't know anything about comedy, didn't know stage presence, didn't know, but I knew life. So as I was doing that, I still was dealing with my PTSD, still dealing with going through a divorce, still dealing with a lot of other things from coming straight from the war, 6 months retiring after that. So what had really happened was I contemplated taking my life. I contemplated taking my life, and I couldn't laugh anymore. Nothing was funny. Nothing seemed to be going right. So someone on my job, I'll never forget it. Someone on my job, I know the person's name, but I'm not going to breach confidentiality. They said that there's a comedy contest. I said, I know. They said there's a comedy class at the Funny Bone in the area. I said, I'm broke as a joke. I can't. She said, me and my husband are going to sow the $250 into your life for you to go to the class. Went to the class. That was a life-saving moment. I got my laugh back. And a gentleman I was talking to, because my name used to be Reverend Peanut Butter and Jelly. Yeah, see how you laughing? That's how everybody else laughed at me. They're like, what? Reverend Peanut Butter and Jelly? So I was brainstorming with a friend of mine. I was like, look, man, I got to change this name. This name can't go nowhere. So we sit down talking. He said, so what got you through your trauma, your PTSD to where you at now? Of course, God, we knew that. Then I said, well, laughter in a therapist. He said, well, why don't you call yourself the laugh therapist?
There you go.
I was like, wow. And that name can go anywhere. So it has been a journey. It has really been a journey. And from now, comedy has turned into speaking with humor, because it allows people to be able to talk about a subject of mental health or PTSD of veterans and all that other good stuff, and add a little humor into it that make it plausible for them to really receive it. And then USAA picked me up to be a veteran spokesperson as a mental health for suicide awareness. We face the fight. They had a campaign going. So it has been a plethora of blended family, been a plethora of divorce, been a plethora of kids, all that. And as I tell people, PTSD don't care about life. Life don't care about PTSD. They are going to collide.
Yes, that is
And
true.
when they collide, what are you going to do then? And that's when I knew I needed some help. I needed some resources to help me in this role.
And this is the month of PTSD awareness.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
that's right.
And we are at B3u where I am honoring. I'm making it Men's Appreciation Month along with PTSD awareness.
Thank you.
And the purpose of these interviews and our interviews today is to be transparent with our audience because there are many of us that are out there. We're suffering. And I tell people, you just don't have to be a service member for PTSD.
Correct.
You know, people tend to think when they hear PTSD, oh, that's only for people who served in the military. I have a daughter who was shot in a drive-by shooting, suffers from PTSD. So we want to get the message and push this message out here that mental health, number one, is real.
Correct.
Where you have shown us how you have dealt and coped with your PTSD in the moment, you know, and again, it'd be so many things as veterans, and those are like, we have stories for days.
For days.
You know, I mean, we could sit here for a good couple of hours run down some of the things and trials and the tribulations that we've been through. Is it during your a little bit deeper into your did you ever feel like you were pressured, like I need to hurry up and get over this so I can live my life? Did you feel any pressure? What was it that drove you to say, hey,
I gotta do it? Well, you know what? You sound like my therapist right there. Let's go a little deeper.
Let's go.
That was her famous word. Well, let's go a little deeper, or well, let's go with that.
But it's only because you know I'm trying there again. I'm about servicing those people in the now.
Yeah, let's go deep. I'm ready.
You know how people are saying, well, you know, I remember when I was, you know, single with 4 children in the military, and I would go to church, and they, oh baby, wait on God.
Wait on God.
He's just like, hey, our old baby is gonna come to you. Trust, keep your faith in the Lord. But the truth is, and Bernard, I know me and you know this, but when you're in that season, you really did not want to hear that.
That's right. And a caveat to that. The day I wanted to take my life, I went to church because I knew God. You know, I had went to church, and my pastor, my bishop, didn't know me from nobody. You know, he knew I had just joined the ministry, I haven't been there long, and I was going through things in my life, and I didn't want to die, but I wanted that pain to end that I was going through. So I said, you know what, the only way to get this pain to end is to take my life. That's how I felt at that time. And he sits on the corner of, at that time, he always used to sit on the corner of the pulpit after service, and people just come up and just, you know, conversate. I came up and I told him some of the things I was going through. And if he had just told me, bruh, let's just pray about it, and sent me on my way, that was my demise right then, because that was my last straw. What he did was he said, hold up. He called 2 brothers from the church. He said, hey, y'all come here. Get this young man right here. Give him my personal cell phone number. I want y'all to take him over there, talk to him, and do not let him leave until you are sure he is okay. That is the first time I felt seen since I had been back from Iraq. And I think that was like 2.5 years. I had been seen. That day saved my life. And that has been over 15 years ago. That day saved my life because I felt seen. Even though he was a pastor, even though he was a bishop, even though he knew God, he knew I needed something else also. That's why I tell people you can have God and a therapist. You can have both. So that was a powerful moment, but I still had my struggles. But I knew what I could turn to for therapy. That's when I started going to therapy. That's when I started going to the groups. That's when I got on medications and started taking my meds.
That's right.
And my daughter at the time, she just graduated from Virginia Tech. But at the time, she said, I'm scared of my dad. I heard her say that. Not that I was violent, but I was 0 to 100. So I felt like I am taken away from their childhood. I have to go and get help so I can be productive in their life.
Right.
And blessing is my wife. My wife married me not knowing anything about the military. I had went through a divorce and met at the comedy club. She didn't know anything about PTSD. She didn't know anything about the military, but she learned about PTSD real quick. Because when you dating, you hiding it. You trying your best to hide. I don't want you to see.
That's right.
I already got kids. I don't want you to see what else is going on with, because my grandma will always say, love is blind, but marriage is an eye opener.
Yes. Oh my, I love grandma. She is so right. She is so right.
All right. So, we went through that and going to the VA. But one thing about my wife, she wanted to learn about what was making her husband tick. And one day I told my family, I said, I don't know why I tick. So we all went to therapy together as a family.
Wow.
And my therapist took a 3D model of the brain and showed my family, this is where your father and your husband's brain is injured. When she said he has an injury, that changed my whole focus of what it is. Wow. And then they started learning, and my wife, the VA called her my caregiver. My therapist said, no, change that wording. She's not your caregiver. She's your partner in recovery.
Oh, who's your therapist now? I got to get somebody.
The best therapist in the world.
What's the world?
She used to always tell us to change our wording.
That's right.
So that's going to be the name of our book, Partner in Recovery, because it means I had to do something and she had to do something. She had to learn about the PTSD and my triggers. I had to continue to go to therapy. I had to continue to stay on my meds. I had to continue to be present and not just there. So it made us do things totally different. And I'm telling you, that therapist, she's not in the VA now. She has her own practice somewhere in Northern Virginia. But the resources that she gave me really, really made me help me to be where I am now, because she gave me the tools to do the work.
Right.
She made me have the tools to do the work, put it that way.
So what can we say to a person who feels like their pain has no meaning yet? What would you say?
You have to believe that. I would tell that I didn't believe that my story or what I've been through had meaning. I didn't believe it. It's like, because one of the reasons I'm going to tell you why is because I broke down the word stigma. Because I tell folks, if you want to see stigma, I'll be stigma. Okay. And one of the things in stigma is self-stigma that we put on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm not good enough. Everything is negative. Nothing is going good. Everything I try. But one of the main ones is, what are people going to say about me? But see, growing up, I had an uncle who was a Vietnam veteran. Okay. And he used to go to the VA hospital, and they used to call him crazy. They used to call him, get over there, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, every time he come around, oh, he talking crazy. So I was not going to be seen like that. So that hindered me from going to seek help. And I would throw self-stigma on myself. Man, I can't be seen as crazy. I just retired from the military. I just moved back home. And I don't know why everybody think you rich when you move back home.
That is the biggest myth put on veterans. Like, oh, military, rich, money. Yeah.
Commissary, you can go to here, you can go there. But it is that person has to know that, first of all, they matter. And second of all, your story matters. Nobody can want your healing or your or you getting better more than you do.
More than you. That is
nobody can want
true.
that. You have to want. I had to learn that I needed to get better or seek help or get these resources for me. So that's what I would share with somebody. Know in yourself that you matter.
That's right. How do you protect your peace today? Because every day I tell people every day it's work for me. Every day I wake up in the morning, I'm talking to myself, and I tell people, don't stop listening to yourself. Stop listening to yourself. But when you listen to yourself, that's when you're going, oh man, you know, I don't want to do this, or I don't want nobody to, you know, oh, what if I die? My biggest thing, my PTSD is fear. I lost so many people in my military career. Once I left from the military, I separated from my family completely.
Okay.
And I took my I was in an abusive marriage. I took my children. I was like, that's it. I got to get out of Philly. I'm going to start a new life to better myself. And I want it better for my children.
Correct.
So I just cut everybody. So in that time, before I went, I lost my grandmother. That was another reason why I said, you know, my grandmother, she was my backbone. She was my everything. Even though I was in abusive. Who is that?
This is me and my granny. I keep her on my desk. I keep her on my desk. Yes.
I have a picture of my granny as well. Yes. I keep her in the kitchen because I still hear her telling me how to make those sweet potato pies, you know, that I refuse to get a recipe up for. But, you know, every when I lost her, I was in that abusive marriage. I said, okay, that's it. I got to get away from everything and everybody. I went in the military. And during that time, I've lost aunts, uncles. I mean, I just nieces. You know, I continue to lose. You know, so it's like I've seen to the point where some of my sisters, you know how we in the military, you know, we get that good brother, sister, and we stick with them for life. They become more family than family.
That's true. That's true.
So I've had sisters that actually lost children to murder, car accident, and the screams and everything and the cries constantly run through my head. So what's my biggest thing now? Fear of losing one of mine.
Okay.
You know, so again, and then being in the military, deployments, lost soldiers, you know, so mine is fear. So every day that I rise, every day that I lay down, am I going to die? You know, I'm a stroke survivor. Am I going to die? Am I going to this? Am I going to that? And so if I keep listening, if we keep listening to those things in our head, we'll never get nowhere.
Correct.
So the way I combat my demons, so to speak, is I talk to them like, look here, okay? Today is going to be a good day. And I don't care. And of course, as veterans, we suffer from what? Body illnesses.
Okay. That's right. Knee hurt, shoulder, back. Yeah. Top of your gum hurt. Which top of your gums hurt for? What top of your gums hurt for?
Look, my fingernails.
Everything.
Everything hurts.
Yes.
And you have to, when you are dealing with mental, physical, and life is continue to life, I tell people you either going to do one or two things. You either going to lay down and just give up.
Give up, right?
Or God gives us two things, chance and choice.
Okay, got it.
He gives us a chance when we open our eyes in the morning. That's our chance right there.
Correct.
The choice, what we're going to do with it.
Correct.
Are we going to lay in this bed? Are we just going to keep thinking about all the people we lost? Or are we going to keep thinking about how much the pain hurts? Or are we going to make the choice to get up and do something with what we're given?
Correct. And that's when you ask that question, you know, it's like, I tell people, I got three people in my head. I got Vernard, Christian, and Felix. Okay. Felix still in the military. That's the one I can't let come out all the time. Because this brother, Felix is the comedian. He don't care what you think, what you say. So when he say stuff, it comes out kind of foul. But he sends it to Christian. Christian cleans it up.
Okay.
He gives it to Vernard. And then Vernard is able to give it to you where you can see. So what I used to do is I would allow myself to talk to me. Mm-hmm. Now I talk to myself, just like you said, get up, let's go. Mm-hmm. Yep, you want to be depressed, but we're not going to be depressed today. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn to talk to myself because I have a saying, we have a saying in our house. I met my wife in the comedy club. So we joke 24/7. If you want to sit in that diaper, go ahead, sit in that diaper. But you know the diaper can be changed.
That's right.
And you can be clean. Or you can sit in that diaper, you can get diaper rash, you can scream, you can do, but that choice is yours. And it's not as easy as I'm saying it because it took us some time to get there.
It takes work.
It takes work.
And what does the Bible say? The Bible said faith without
works is dead.
It's dead. We could sit there all day and say, I don't believe that God going to do it. I don't believe that God going to do it. Well, you just sitting there and
you just sitting there. You just sitting there.
God is going to do it. You have to do the work. And sometimes people cannot see because it's too much.
It is a lot.
But
you gotta take it in small bites. Mm-hmm. You gotta take it in small, because sometimes I want to be everything for everybody right now. Can't be. My wife has a thing. We have a thing in our house. My wife has just learned about being overstimulated. Mm-hmm. She did not understand about me being overstimulated. And now she knows. But one thing we do, we have a thing. We will walk through the house if we just looking starry-eyed. We just say, close your tabs. Because if you think about it, when you using a computer and you got all them tabs open up that you've been looking at, and now you got a whole lot of tabs on your computer screen, it's slowing down your memory. It's slowing down the functionality of what it's meant to do. So you got to close them tabs. That means close your mind. You can't change this. You can't make this person like you. You can't make this person be in your life. Only thing you really can control is you. And we try to make, I ain't gonna say we, I'm gonna talk about me. I try to make everybody understand me. Everybody is not going to understand you.
They're not.
Period, point blank. Once I realized, I'm talking about even my children, even my mom, even my family. Okay, I can't make you understand this part of me. So what I'm going to do is I still want you in my life. So we just going to have boundaries. Mm-hmm. Certain things we just ain't going to deal with.
Exactly right.
Certain thing. And to a person, I have best friends. They know I have PTSD, but they want me around. That's the key. They want me around. So sometimes when I'm over there just sitting in the corner, they be like, let little bro go sit down. Let him. So it's not like I have to be in that circle to where I got to be everything for everybody. It's like, no. I have I have a disability. Whether you believe it, whether you understand it, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because my friends, I had a friend say, man, if people really knew you, they wouldn't think you had PTSD. I said, because I done use the tools now to know when to separate, when to be in the location. When people say, man, how can you go to a football game and all them people yelling? Because I'm yelling with them. I'm screaming, we scream. But when I leave, I am hyper-focused. All these people, I'm boom, boom, boom. Where does the exit? So that's constantly what we're doing. We're constantly on guard.
Every single day.
Single day.
Every moment of the day. When we go out to restaurants, my husband is a military veteran as well. And whenever it gets, and that's what you say, that's a good point that you made. Nobody will understand you. I went to the rush home. And I'm 54 now, Vernard, and I will tell you that I just learned who I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe a year ago now.
I'm with
you. Because now I learned where my trauma all came from, and it was just built up over time. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to caveat on something else you said. And a woman, a good friend of mine, she told me, she said, Bree, she's a pastor, Moena Tucker, the Tuckers, their pastor. And she said, Bree, how do you eat an elephant? And I was like, oh, that's pretty big. I just have to eat that elephant like one big piece at a time. And I was like, oh, ding, 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 ding. Oh, you know, one bite
at a time.
At a time.
That's
and
right.
I love the analogy of closing those tabs.
Tabs.
I love that. I love that. Look, you teaching me today. Now, I don't know if y'all getting it out there, but I am picking up everything you putting down. Like they used to say back in the day, track it like a VCR.
You know what though? It's amazing when you said you just found yourself. Do you know I have been doing comedy? I have spoke. I have been doing this for almost 12 to 13 years. Wow. The last almost, I would say, year is when I got comfortable with me. With me. I mean, I'll do comedy, I'll speak. They were like, oh my God, that was this. And I'm like, thank you. It's like, God is giving me this gift. If God has allowed me to have PTSD and still go out here and speak and do comedy, then he got it. God, you do what you do. I'm just a vessel you're going to use. And that's what we have to look at. Because I used to be like, why me? Why I got PTSD? Why I had trauma? Then I had to realize, you could have died in Iraq, boy.
Yeah.
You made it back. But you know what, though? A lot of times that I had made it back, Miss Bree, I used to sit around and be like, I wish I had died in Iraq. And you know why I said that? Because I'd have came back a hero.
Yeah.
I came back in my uniform, in the casket. They'd had a flag over me.
Yeah.
Everybody would have been crying, saluting. He went to war. He died a hero. Not that he retired, went to war, came back. Now he got PTSD. Now he got issues. Now he divorced. Now he this. Now his kids is bringing up issues that he had when he. So so I was like,
yes.
Why can't I just die in the war?
I understand exactly what you're talking about. Because what people don't know, and what I didn't know upon retirement, is you're nothing. You are a nobody now. You can have your chest all stacked up and you think, okay, I'm going to get out and I'm going to show them all of the deployments I've done. And they just look at you like, okay.
Ms. Bree, I went to my first interview. Got on a shirt and tie, coat. I go to interview. I'm sitting across the thing from a 23-year-old boy and he had on a t-shirt and pants. And I'm like, what the heck I'm explaining to you about? I didn't get that job. I had to and I just came back from the war. You sitting across here asking me what? Yeah, it is a total different mindset because you go to commanding folks in a real war till I'm sitting across the desk from you asking you, can you give me a job?
Right. It's so weird. It's so weird. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. As I was saying to you too, like and see, you're married to a civilian, which wow.
Totally different.
Totally different. I'm married to another veteran. We both crazy as hell over here.
Totally different. And
when we go to a restaurant, he has to sit with his back. He has to be facing the entryway.
Got to.
Me, before I go, I'm like, okay, I say, okay, exit here. If something go off, I'm going to that table, throw it up. I'm going straight into Rambo mode, And this is what we have to do, even just going out.
Yes. And see, it's different on my end because I'm doing the surveillance and my wife just, we got in a couple of arguments because I'm like, do you have peripheral vision? And she was like, what's good? I said, I am looking at you. then she had to realize, okay,
Yeah.
that's his way of protecting me by making sure I know. I said, if I get up and run, you run with me. If I say
That's right.
duck, don't ask me no questions. And sometimes she had to tell me though, baby, just be in the moment.
Yeah.
Just be in the, but there's a way that you can talk to a person and tell them be in the moment because they have done their work. Then say, what is wrong with you? My God, can't you? Oh, now we both up here. So it was tools that we had to learn in order to continue to be married with this. Because when you married with PTSD, I don't care if it's war or not, and you don't get to work, it start compounding. Then you become a blended family, and then that adds. So it's so much that adds on to it that if you don't go and seek help, if you don't put your family in therapy, if you don't say we need help, you'll be a basket case.
And then the other thing that I want to point out is that you said that I totally agree with. You can't expect, because when I was going through my thing, me and my husband handle trauma
differently.
To whereas when someone dies for me, you know, I'll just say, you know, my uncle passed from cancer. To where my husband, he'll handle it like, well, babe, you know, he was sick. You knew he was going to go. And, I mean, I don't even know if this man has tear ducts, because it's
I'm
like,
telling you.
Just recently, my daughter just went in the hospital. She was in the ambulance, and I got a phone call from my middle girl saying she was non-responsive, her husband. And I'm learning now to not just, because before I would just,
correct.
When
sometimes that's a normal mom reaction too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I try, because I have 5 children. We're a blended family, so we have 8 children all together.
Okay.
So it's like for me, he had to teach me
correct
how not to just fly. Because
but
before
hold on, Miss Bree. This the powerful part though. You was willing to learn.
Yes, you have
That's
to be.
The powerful point.
You have to be. You have to, especially a strong marriage needs communication. And what I love about my husband, I don't want, because I don't want to blow his head up and he see this interview, but he's a great communicator, and he will say, if he don't, okay, I agree to disagree, but what we're going to do is whatever the issue is, because again, I went into the rush home and I was so angry because he's a bike rider. He rides with Rare Breed.
Okay.
So he loves to ride.
Okay.
But I needed you. My nephew just committed suicide. And for my husband, it's like, babe, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm in the hospital bed now. I just had emergency surgery. And this was 2023. I had emergency surgery. A few hours after the surgery, I got the message that my nephew committed suicide. I was trying to get off the bed, Bernard. I was trying to make it to Philly.
I get it.
My husband said, you ain't going nowhere. I said, I ain't going to argue with him. Just show you different. I'm going. I don't know how I was going to get there, but I'm that type of person that's my heart. I'm going to serve. We tried to serve it. That was my way of avoiding and masking too, helping other people, avoiding. So I'll focus on somebody else.
So you was going to help him, and then they were going to have to help you too. So you was going to go there in the ambulance. So you was going to go there in the ambulance. But you know what though? We need people around us who going to sometimes sit your hind pass down.
But it's just, but I was angry with him because it's like, after all that, after I lost my nephew, I went to the and then like I said, I found out what all this stemmed from. But I was angry with my husband because I was suffering, and because you don't act as I do, or you don't understand what I'm going through. I want to leave. And my husband had told me about that before. He said, you're going to stop. So if you do not leave my house, because my way of handling my PTSD and anxiety now. I had a 17-year abusive marriage. One thing I didn't want to do is now I'll become the abuser. So I don't. So my thing is the lead.
Correct.
But I've learned that that's not good either.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
So it's like, okay, but you don't understand me. And my therapist there, they said, you can't expect everybody to know what you are walking in these shoes. He's walking in now. He got 7 deployments. You know?
But you know what though? It's amazing you say that, because I was the same situation. It's like when you was talking to your ex and you was expecting a fight.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right here, even though you still expecting that fight, but when you don't get it, it's like, so what do I do now?
Yeah.
I don't get the fight. What do I? So, and I heard you say, talking about the tear ducts. It took me a long time to get emotion back.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It took me I'm going to tell you one of the stories. I moved into a community, and I think I had been living in the community about a year, and I had just been back from Iraq, probably about 2.5 years. Didn't cry, didn't have no emotion. My neighbor next door, we used to talk all the time. He was coming home from work one night and got into a car accident and passed. As I was getting up the next morning to go to work, his wife was out in the yard, and she was crying, and she was like, "Hey," I said, she was telling, I said, "I did see an accident on the news." She said, "That was Stan. That was, he died last night." And in my emotions from Iraq, it was like, we saw so many dead people. Okay, get them, bury them, let's move on. So I had to go back and apologize and say, I am truly sorry if I felt cold or cowed, because that was I couldn't cry. I couldn't show emotions. So that's another thing that we had to learn, because my wife didn't see me cry for a long. She was like, does this man have emotions? Right. Because it's like we hide it so deep.
Yeah.
We hide it so deep to when it does come up, it has to be some really dramatic. But I just want you to be able just to have a good cry sometime, and just it's refreshing. I listen to gospel music and I just get a cry, and it just feels good, because I'm getting back to my emotions. And I know I'm still talking, but one of the biggest, I ain't gonna say arguments, but one of the biggest come to Jesus moment we had, every time I was in Signal in the military, so in the Army. So I had a cell phone when we was in war. We had radio when we was in war. So every time there was a bombing, or every time we called somebody, if they didn't answer, the first thing you think, they dead. So when I had my cell phone, I came back, every time the phone would ring, I would pick it up on the first ring. Boom. Yo, what's up, man? Hey. She was like, why do you do that? Sometimes let it go to voicemail. I don't care. Sometimes we could be just in a conversation, the phone ring. Hey, she had to understand. I had to go back to my therapist to find out, why do I do that? And she broke it down. She said, when you was in war, you had all these communication tools. If somebody didn't pick up, the first thing you thought, they was dead. So now in my mind, when people call me, I had to pick it up to let them know I'm alive, but I'm not in war. So that's why it's the retraining of the mind, because you have trained your mind to go to war. You have trained your mind not to trust anything, because anything that over there could possibly kill you. So I had to retrain. So that's some of the things that when I said we had to learn, you have to be willing to relearn yourself and relearn life. And some people don't want to be around to help you do that. And I'm okay with that. We have to be okay with people in our life who we used to roll with, where you walk away, they say, hey, I just can't we have to be okay with that. Yeah. Because sometimes we will walk away from people, because my biggest thing is, hey, I don't have the mental capacity to handle that. Yeah. I can't do everything. I tried it. No. Yeah. So
that is
it's rough.
So awesome. Look, I am so glad to have this connection.
Yes.
I got another friend, another brother. You are amazing. What's next? What's next for you? What are we doing now? Where are you at? Because I want to make sure I'm there so I could get my stuff in last.
Well, what I do, I'm going back. I had a podcast called PTSD, Processing Traumatic Situations Differently. That was the acronym I came up with for PTSD, because people process their trauma differently. Like you said, you process yours by leaving.
Yeah.
But you had to rethink it to process it healthy. Leaving sometimes, no. But I tell people, however you process it legally and ethically, you might want to plant a garden. You might want to walk, ride horses, kayak, knit, whatever. Mine's is laughter. Whatever you have.
The point is to find
something.
Just don't give up.
Just don't
lay
give
down
up.
and let it take you.
There you go. I mean, I told a friend, I said, look, if you want to grow a garden on your sidewalk, people might not, but if that's helping you get to the next day, do it. So that's one of the things I'm gonna come back with. And I'm doing comedy. Most of my events are private events or corporate events. I don't really go to the comedy clubs. I don't, because I'm 57. I'm getting too old to be staying out all night. No, I like being home. So me and my wife, if I have a show, we'll go together. If I still go out of town, I still do that. But more than what I'm doing there is speaking. It seems like God has given me more avenues of speaking with humor in it, because people really need to laugh and really need to talk about mental health. In some ways, just talking about it is, let's laugh about it.
And that is, so when God has something for you, and I wanted to say that as well, when God has something for, he uses us
yes,
to help other people. So when God has a calling on you, and you know, and I look back now, I say, now I know my why.
Yes.
God, why did you make me go through all of this? Is because he said, Bridget is my real name. He says, I have something for you. So again, in the military, I'm comfortable. I was speaking, I was doing poetry. So being a leader, I always spoke to soldiers. So I had to come at that. After I went to the rush home, I lost my nephew. And in 2024 is when I was like, or 2020, the end of 2023, I built the House of Humanity. That's my nonprofit where I service homeless individuals. That's domestic violence victims, and I service low income. That vision was given to me. And it's like, okay, God says, okay, you could do a little more. Okay. So it's like, I am a servant for his people. And I used to hate that I had that heart. And that's why I said, well, God, all these people are dying around me. What am I here for? I wanted to give up, because I have this heart. You gave it to me, but I'm losing people.
And we can't save everybody.
And he said, they used to call me Mother Teresa. I have had that name all in my, Bridget is Mother Teresa. But what I have learned is, and what he has me doing is stop focusing on the soldier that you couldn't save. Stop focusing on the soldiers that you lost due to whatever situation they had. Stop focusing on that and focus. So I'm telling you, and I don't know if it's like this for you, but I could see what he wants me to do. It's just plain as day. And he puts the break. This is why me and you are here today.
Right.
Because he's lining it up.
Networking.
And he's given me the tools and the people to get the message out, because I have this thing that Bernard, I want to save the world. I want to save the world.
And you know what? Jesus came to save the world, and people don't even want to deal with him.
Yes. Yeah. So, what I'm learning now is that, okay, God, I wanted to help people. But he said, why just in your own circle?
Right.
Come outside the box. So now I'm doing the speaking. I'm doing the podcast. And it's like the audacity of me to get fearful in what I'm doing, you know?
Correct.
And you get fearful because now you're on a broader scale. And I don't know how it was for you. You have over 20,000 followers. And
that still ain't nothing though.
But it's something.
I see what you're saying.
It's something.
Yes.
And my thing is, you are out here, brother, and I applaud you. And you know, I never really was a comic type person. I think the only people that was been funny to me is Jim Carrey, Kevin Hart, and Cat Williams. But I like Kevin Hart and Cat Williams because they're comics that just use realness and make it funny. It ain't funny, you know what's going on.
Is right.
But they make it funny. But just seeing you and how God has led you and the things that God, you know, I know that my time will come. I admire you. I thank you for what you are doing because you are helping people.
That's all I ever wanted to do. I keep telling folks, this is my therapy. Me going out speaking, doing comedy is my therapy that they get to have therapy from.
You said that. You are very good with words. And this is what my therapy is. My therapy is speaking. My therapy is getting other people to be transparent. And in this month of Men's Appreciation Month, I appreciate you for coming on here and giving us the time and your time to just show somebody like you can make it. Here are the tools.
Here are the tools. And I tell folks, the tools I have are in my rucksack. And I might not need those tools every day, but when I do need them, I know where they're at.
You know where they're at.
That's the key, to know where these tools are at.
That's so correct. My brother in arms. You're my friend. We friends, man.
Yeah.
I thank you, and I look forward to having you back. I will keep up with you, whatever you do. I will support you in whatever you do. I thank everyone for viewing and coming on and viewing this yet another amazing interview with B3u with Mr. Vernard Hines.
Yes.
And we will see. Yes, go ahead.
If people want to follow me, you can follow me on all social media at The Laugh Therapist on Instagram and Vernard Hines on Facebook, and my website, www.thelaughtherapist.com.
Yes. And we're looking forward to that book.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
And the podcast, is it coming back?
It's coming back. It's coming back. It'll probably start back in September.
Yeah. I will be following you. I'm going to keep all my viewers up and following you. But you probably got more followers than me. But whatever I got, they're going to follow you.
There you go. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put your name out there.
God bless you.
God bless you.